Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing weekly gaming podcast from us, the Goodnight Groofs. Now, before we begin, a quick reminder that Game Groofs remains a work in progress, so any and all feedback on the show and its segments are greatly welcomed and appreciated. You can reach us in the YouTube comments down below. If you're listening to the audio version, you can hit us up at gamegroofs@gmail.com. My name is Matt, and today I'm joined by Paul and Mike. Guys, let's jump right into it. The peak of the week. Instead of asking you guys how you're doing, I want to ask you guys what your peak of the week has been. What's the best thing that happened to you this week, Paul?
Yeah, this week, I was trying to think of my peak of the week a little bit before the episode, and I think my peak of the week this week is my cat is famous on Reddit, which is pretty cool.
Whoa!
I mean, I don't know how famous, but it was pretty exciting. My cat, I've talked about him before, I think Leo, he was formerly 26 or 27 pounds at a max weight. He's a big guy, so I mean, it wasn't like as fat as you could possibly get, but he was up there. He is now down to 18.2 pounds. Wow. He's about to kick below. Wow. He's lost over 30% of his body weight. We're extremely proud of him. So there's a subreddit called Chonkers, which is a bunch of chonky cats, one of my favorite subreddits. And, oftentimes a de-chonkification post will get upvoted. And Rachel and I saw a really good one for this cat named Cabbage, who also lost a lot of weight. Sorry, Cabbage, but we stole your thunder. We put Leo on there. And he got 8,000 upvotes, over 8,000 upvotes. Oh my
goodness!
And everyone called him a fine boy, and it was really lovely. And everyone was saying how proud of him they were, so that was really nice. And it was fun. It was fun seeing Leo so popular on Reddit, and everyone thought he was such a great cat. Also, there's of course the Reddit haters on there who are like, "This is a different cat. The spot's in a different place," and it's like, yeah, it's mirrored. The picture's mirrored. It's a different angle. Like, she got so mad. She's like, "Paul, go on there and like tell them they're wrong." I'm like, don't interact with them. Like,
yeah, then it just gets worse,
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Congratulations to Leo on living a healthy lifestyle now. That's wonderful.
He's 10. He's got 10 more years to go. Hopefully, that's the dream.
Perfect. Mike, what's the best thing that happened to you this week?
I think the best thing was probably being able to play Potion Craft finally. It's a game I've been looking forward to for probably 6 or 8 months. So finally got to play it. It's awesome. Definitely worth the wait. And I can't wait to see what the devs have in store for it, because it's very much not finished yet. And that's pretty clear. They have some tools that they blatantly say this will be in the final release, et cetera, et cetera. So really cool game. Definitely recommend. I think it might still be available to playtest. You have to request access, but it granted it to me immediately. So if you want to check it out, go for it.
So it's not even early, or it's not even early access. It's just like a playtest beta sort of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. How long have you been following this game?
That's a great question.
And how'd you find out about it?
So my buddy, one of my best friends, told me about it because he was like, "This looks like the perfect game for you," and sent me a link. And I was just like, "You're right."
Yeah.
So yeah, he pointed me in the direction of it. I was like, "Yeah, this looks amazing. I can't wait to actually see it."
Sweet.
I'd say I've been following it probably since last year. Easily since last year. Okay. So.
Wow, nice.
Probably like 9 months.
My peak of the week was popping.
Yes, Matt, what is your peak of the week? I'm so sorry. Josh isn't here to ask you. Thank
you. Yes, it was popping that sweet platinum on the Order 1886 because it meant that I was done with the game. And we'll be talking about it a little bit later. But yeah, joking aside, peak of the week, 2 plats this week. Order 1886, Donut County, added to the count.
Grabbing your easy platinums this week.
Yeah, I had to grab that.
Well, some are easy. I mean, having to sit through even 8 hours of the Order 1886 might be a bit of a strenuous challenge. It may not be as easy a plat as it sounds.
That one was probably made a little bit quicker from the fact that I have actually finished the game before. Now, the save didn't carry over because I didn't move any of my saves from PS4 to PS5, so I still had to play through the whole game again.
Yeah.
But there were some things like there's one where you have to get 75 kills with a pistol or something like that, and so like my count had already started, years
Oh,
ago.
that's cool.
So,
That's cool.
That's nice.
also tried a couple new breweries, and they were both great. So
Nice.
another good peak of the week. It's just it's nice going out and sitting outside and hanging out. Let's move on to trending topics. In trending topics, I give our panelists a choice between 3 search terms. They have to tell me which term they think got the most searches over the last 7 days via stats from Google Trends. We'll play 3 quick rounds. Round 1. Unity, as in the game engine, Unreal Engine, or Creation Engine?
I'm going Unity.
I was going to. I'm going to say Unreal Engine.
Unity is the winner. This
Because
one
of the
was
news this week.
Yeah, probably. This one was fairly close, I want to say, between Unity and Unreal, but Creation didn't even really register.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's how soon will they get rid of Creation Engine?
Right. Round 2. Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, or Grand Theft Auto San Andreas?
Ah.
Wow.
Wow. I feel like one's weirdly going to be higher than all the other ones for no reason.
Yep, this was not even
Yep.
close.
Yep.
I'm going Vice City.
I'm going San Andreas.
San Andreas is the winner. Not even close.
Makes
Weird.
sense.
Why is it so much higher?
I remember
Because of the
loving
memes,
Vice
maybe?
City, but San Andreas, man, it was just the last of its kind. It was a special game.
To play it again, probably. We'll
I
talk.
know,
We
it's
might talk about that
exciting.
later. And round 3, to go along with recent GG replay themes: Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper.
Ooh.
I feel like this is a not even close scenario as well. Matt's poker face is really good. I'm really appreciating that you didn't give anything away when I said that. I mean, I guess I got to go with the world leader. I got to say Coca-Cola.
I was going to say Coca-Cola as well.
You both win, Coca-Cola. Pepsi and Coke were close. Dr. Pepper wasn't nearly as close, but they were close.
The idea that someone would actually type in Coca-Cola though is funny to me. Like,
Yeah.
like Pepsi's so clearly Pepsi, and like
Right.
it's just. But I guess if you're looking at the company or whatever, yeah.
Let's move on to the big question here.
Well, before we move on to the big question,
okay.
can I just commandeer for a second to ask what everyone is drinking right now. It looks interesting.
Bud Light again.
Bud Light. Not
Classic.
rocking it with a Bud Heavy right now.
No.
Yeah, Mike.
I got iced tea.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
More like nice tea, am I right? Oh,
Paul,
let's
what do we got?
I got Red Bull,
Of
Friends of the
course,
GG replay
of
now.
course,
Oh.
Yes.
Keep me awake in the late day.
Paul has many a wings at this point.
I do. I have it's actually disgusting. I have a lot of grafted like wings. They can't flap anymore because they're all anyway.
There's some movie like that. There's-
Human Centipede?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's some movie that like displays weird, gross wings like that.
Interesting. Okay.
The
We
big
can make
question. So, the abandoned real-time experience app from Blue Box Game Studios was supposed to go live with an introduction teaser earlier this week on August 10th. Due to some apparent technical difficulties, the update for the app never went live. So we have yet to see any intro teaser. Blue Box, led by Hasan Kahraman, has said that the update has been delayed until they can get it working properly and then push it live. This comes after the app was already delayed initially back on June 25th due to what they were calling localization issues. So for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, I highly recommend pausing the podcast right now, if you can, and checking out the story so far post on the subreddit called the Blue Box Conspiracy.
If you are driving right now, pull off the road. Soft shoulders are acceptable, whatever it takes.
In short, there are a ton of coincidences with the development of this game that may point to the fact that it's actually a secret Hideo Kojima project, or at the very least, something much bigger than it would appear, as Blue Box is supposedly this extremely small, no-name indie studio. Nobody in game development knows who Hasan Kahraman is. Right now, when we're recording, it's about an hour past 5:59 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, which is the last time that a lot of people were holding out hope for. Today is the 7th anniversary of the release of PT, and PT released at 5:59 Eastern on August 12th in 2014. Blue Box put out the following tweet just minutes after this time had passed. We ask everyone to calmly wait for the patch. We understand your frustration. We are 100% real and are working on a passionate game we believe in. This is what happened. We dealt with multiple engine issues that occurred last minute after we spotted a graphical glitch. For that, we wanted to do a quick update.
Oh no, a glitch.
Yeah. We are almost there as most of the testing is completed. We would like to thank you again for the patience and apologize for the inconvenience. Okay, so again, strange wording in these tweets, as we always get from Blue Box. So herein lies the question, gentlemen. Let's finally put this whole thing to bed and talk about Blue Box for the last time, or at least until anything concrete comes out of it. What the fuck is going on? And what's your latest theory? Mike, I know you're ready for this. I'm going to go to you first.
Oh, you're going to be disappointed in my answer, I think. I don't know. And I think at this point, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That is how much this has just been a charade. It's almost becoming embarrassing at this point.
Yeah, it is.
And I just don't care. Like at this time on August 12th, like nothing they release after this point is going to actually matter. Like they would have to deliver so big in order for this to actually mean something at this point. At least for me, they've constantly been having people run around on goose chases. They've constantly teased certain things. I don't care that they said on their Twitter, we're not related with Konami, we're not related to Silent Hill.
Still their pinned tweet, by the way.
It's still their pinned tweet. If anything, this kind of seems to me like they stumbled into some coincidences that made it seem like it was Hideo Kojima, and they decided, oh, well, what if we did that and just fed into it and used it as a marketing ploy, but we'll put on our Twitter and pin it so that everyone knows we said we're not related to it. So when it comes out and it's not related, then people can't get pissed at us. And it's like, that's a really shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
Granted, there has been some weird tweets and weird video responses from like Hideo Kojima himself.
Mm-hmm.
Some weird coincidences there. Some weird tweets from Jeff Keighley. Weird support from Sony, even though they have yet to say anything about it. But regardless, this to me is... The bomb went off and it was a dud. There was a fizzle. There was nothing. And even if the bomb goes off later, I don't care because it's exhausting. It's just disappointing. It's hyped up for no reason at this point, and I expect nothing from them. So, oh well.
See,
that's my take.
I really wish that I couldn't care about this. I want to not care, but I can't stop. I cannot stop caring about this thing. Another thing, when you mentioned Jeff Keighley, this just popped into my head. Okay, there are a million things, there are a million reasons to, like, there are a lot of things you can write off at this point and say, like, oh, okay, yeah, that was just a coincidence. But you mentioned Jeff Keighley, it's one of those things, like them getting a Sony PlayStation blog post. But with Jeff Keighley, why did he lie for them? Why did Jeff Keighley lie for Blue Box Studios? Why? I mean, clearly we all know he's best buddies with Hideo Kojima. Why did he lie for Blue Box Studios? That just, I keep going back to that one as one of the main things where it's like, I mean, that should basically be the biggest red flag of all time, right? Because we all know the way that that this happened was there was Jeff Keighley was on a gaming forum and shared a screenshot of messages that he had with Hasan through, I think, the Blue Box Twitter account. And he said that, I asked them about this a while ago, and it had timestamps on it that if it really had been a while ago would have shown the date, but it clearly showed that the messages likely happened earlier that day, not a while ago, like he said. So that it just doesn't make any sense. Paul, I want to hear your take on this thing.
I mean, I'm kind of in the middle. I mean, I don't super care about what game comes out, but I mean, it is mildly interesting to see what's happening with everything and see all the. I mean, it's just fun to watch con men do their work. It's always interesting to watch, whether or not they are or aren't. Allegedly, I'm not, saying specifically, but it is interesting to see people, if they are really conning people. It's an amazingly hilarious con. This would be a great story to tell later on, or have a great documentary about it.
Yeah, this
This
would be an
long con
awesome doc or an awesome
is,
book.
yeah, it's really fascinating. And I kind of want to go longer or get deeper just to make the story more interesting at this point. I think to what Mike was saying, like, I mean, honestly, if it came out and it's Kojima, then I mean, I don't think anyone cares about the scandal at this point.
Right.
If it's Silent Hills or something like that, or Metal Gear or some kind of crazy thing, I don't know if people are going to care. But the biggest thing that I have to take away, and I can't get this out of my head, is Hasan saying 100% this is going to be better than Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was the weirdest thing to say, a weird comparison to make. Did you see this, Mike? Someone asked him.
No, I didn't.
Someone asked him, is it gonna be? Or he compared it to Red Dead Redemption 2, and then I think someone said, "Oh, is it really gonna be as good as Red Dead Redemption 2?" And he's like, "It's better," like or something like that. It was in messages. And it's like,
Sure.
wow, okay, so if this isn't Kojima, like that's an insane. I mean, even if it is, it's a big ask. But whatever, if you're clearly behind some big arc, some big arch fake out, then obviously maybe it is better or on the level of. But the idea of saying it's gonna be better, and then if it's actually what it is, it's the funniest thing. Like just such a maybe their pinned tweet says we're not related to Konami, but when you're telling people, so you can't go back and be like, oh yeah, no, everyone knew it was going to be like a kind of like a mediocre indie game. We're just a small team, and it's like, you said it was going to be better than Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's not a small team. Obviously, you can't make these excuses later and be like, whoa, it was a small team.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, was the fact that Hasan continues to lead people on via DMs on social media.
And it's via DMs too. He's not putting these out on official tweets. These are like weird little, it's like as if it's like as if we don't live in 2021 and people can just screenshot and share the DMs in a second.
Right. Like he's promising the world, he's saying it's coming soon. Like since the delay today, we've seen screenshots of him telling people like it's almost ready, it's coming soon, multiple times. So one, why do this to yourself? Why continue to build unnecessary hype? And two, why not just stay quiet until it's working? No one is forcing you to answer these DMs.
That's what if you actually had something coming, you would not bother. That's my thought process. I recently tried to sell my phone. I did successfully sell one of my older phones. And I had someone fake me out, try to get me to mail it to them in the wrong spot. I found out right before I mailed it, which was great because he tried to send me money. And it was like a fake like Venmo thing. It was really, really sketchy. But the guy like stole someone's identity. They kept trying to tell me like they would like gaslighting me. They were like, oh, no, you're going to get the money. Don't worry. You're going to get the money. 100%. Like it's all this kind of thing, like, no, definitely just wait, it's gonna happen, don't worry, it's all legit, you're the fake. And it's like, oh my god, I'm like, this sounds like Hasan. Like just getting like, oh, is the game coming out? I really want it to work, tell us something. He goes 100%, it'll just be just one more day, just one more week, just one more. It's like, that is, if you had something real, you wouldn't keep one more day, you wouldn't keep saying 100% all the time. It's so weird. It's so like, you would say, listen, we've clearly had a setback. You'd write one of those like, those press releases that like all these games are doing, and Assassin's Creed and all these other companies are, Cyberpunk, they kept writing those press releases and being like, we're really sorry, but we're gonna have to. That's not what you do. This is the kind of thing you do when you have like a tiny studio, and you're making a garbage asset flip game, and you're trying to pretend it's not. I really think
it really does feel like Hasan is playing a character at this point, because it's hard to understand unless he's like a con man. It's hard to understand why someone would actually operate this way.
That's my thing. I think it could only either be a con man or someone pretending to be a con man, because that's the way he's coming off.
Right. It's just, at this point, the conclusion that I'm coming to is that Blue Box and Hasan, like, they have to be frauds who somehow managed to con Sony into getting a PlayStation blog post.
Yeah.
How they did that, I have no fucking clue. I have no idea how they got to that
time,
point.
Though. It wouldn't be the first time that Sony's got caught in this loop of backing a smaller studio and them not delivering what they promised. Because I mean, look at No Man's Sky. Like it happened there.
Yep.
So it's not the first time. I would have thought, okay, Sony's learned their lesson. Clearly not. I don't get it, and I don't understand like this whole thing of we want to set things straight. We have no relations with Konami. Silent Hill is owned by Konami. We do not have any relations with Hideo Kojima. It was never our intention to tease the name of Silent Hill. We sincerely apologize for this. And then they released this blurred image, right?
Right.
That says abandoned real-time experience, and then it's blurred, and there's a guy with a eye patch behind it, which people have found that it's an asset that you can buy. It's a 3D asset that you can buy off a shelf, which I'm just like, oh, that's funny. But then there's like blurred stuff above that like might say directed by or welcome to or whatever. People are just like, what is that? It's just like, if it's not Silent Hill, why are you still like hiding shit? Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna hide it and then it's not Silent Hill, most people are going to be disappointed because they're gonna be like, well, this isn't what I was hoping for, so why hide it? Like, you want to set things straight, but then you don't set things straight. I don't understand.
Here's the final question I have, and that do we think more people are gonna end up? Let's assume Abandon is really what it is. This weird asset flip shit, like weird game from this tiny studio that's sketchy. Let's imagine they actually finish a game here in some way. And by finish, I just mean it's made something playable on a store. Do you think more people will play Abandoned now, like having had this big fraudulent, crazy marketing scheme, than would have played it had they just marketed straight?
Yes, but I
feel
don't know
like
if it's going to
yes.
be by that wide of a margin.
But I think any margin, if you're making a garbage game,
this is true.
And you really don't intend to make a good game.
But now it's publicly known to everybody that you made a garbage game. That if that's
people
the case.
play it,
you might
people
become
play it
lovable
strictly for the meme,
right?
And that's about it.
But that might work. I'm just wondering if maybe they got to a certain point, they realized, okay, this game is gonna be shit. We screwed up. We fucked the whole thing. Like we had all this money and time, and we wasted it. We made this game, and they're like, okay, how can we like get some eyes? Like, what's the new pivot? Like, okay, well, let's like become like the trolls of the internet. Like, the trolls of the game world here.
Right.
Maybe we'll get some following. Maybe people will like be interested in how weird this is, or maybe I don't know. I feel like I'm just wondering if that's going to pay off more than it would have just to try to release their game in the way it was intended to be presented.
It's possible. If they ever do release something, you're right. It's going to make more money than it otherwise would have, because otherwise it would have been something that no one would ever even see.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
What's crazy is like, changing gears a little bit, going back to the app, this was just a localization issue 2 months ago. Now all of a sudden it's a major graphical issue. The other thing that I'm seeing is like, okay, you made a fix right now, great. You don't just get to put your patch on the PlayStation servers. Like, it's going to take, like, they have to make sure that the patch is approved and all that kind of stuff. This thing could still be weeks away.
That's what Blue Box is counting on, I think, that they can be like, oh no, it's going to take an extra few weeks for PlayStation. They have to vet it, and then they keep stringing people along a little bit further. I was going to say that too. Like, also, I know it's probably being nitpicky, but like them saying graphical glitch that they just all of a sudden found is so funny. Just because I feel like legitimate game developers really don't use the term glitch anymore since like 2003, and so I thought it was just kind of funny that they're like, there was a glitch, there was a graphic glitch, and we just, thank God we found it. It's like, okay, like
right.
I feel like this close to the end of the game, you don't find a graphic glitch. Like, what does that even mean? Like, it's so weird.
My only thing, Mike, with the whole thing that you had with the indies, Sony and with PlayStation recently got some heat for, apparently the way that they treat indies, and they don't give them that much love, and maybe this is because of No Man's Sky. Yet, while that's happening, this gets its own spotlight on the PlayStation blog, which is an exclusive spot. Good games are put on the PlayStation blog. You don't just get anything thrown up there. And the only reason that Sony wouldn't have commented at this point is, one, if it is something that's bigger than it appears to be, or two, if Sony's like, well, at this point, we might as well say nothing, because if we say something, then it attaches us to this shit show. And at this point, we might as well just forget it ever happened, you know?
Yeah.
So so let me ask you guys this. Was the actual name of this game ever actually something other than Abandoned? Is it actually something that starts with an S and ends with an L, or was that them trying to create this whole mystery?
I mean, I don't think it matters. I think it just, who the fuck cares what your game is named? It's a con job, unless it actually is Silent Hill, in which case, sure, I guess it was Silent Hill. But otherwise, who cares? Good lord! Like, I mean, Abandoned also sounds like a game that someone like a 13-year-old would think is a cool name for a game. By the way, especially a weird game you're making up. It reminds me of like Five Nights at Freddy's or one of those like weird Mickey Mouse Disney creepypastas.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, I guess I just feel like, who cares? Good question, but my take is, who cares?
Yeah, I'm with you on who cares. I'm sorry. I'm looking up some other stuff because I'm curious about Blue Box. I feel like there's more to it, and like apparently they already have a game that they announced and put on the PlayStation Store.
Is that the Rewind game?
It's The Haunting.
Oh, The Haunting. Yeah. That showed up
Blood,
yesterday.
Water, Curse. That showed up yesterday?
Yesterday or the day before. It showed up because someone found it on the PlayStation Store, I guess, but it's already existed on Steam for a while, and it's under a different name. It's under like Creatic or whatever is the studio that he said he sold the games to.
Yep. It's a dumpster fire of a game from what I can tell.
I think the Steam reviews are mostly negative.
Yep. It looks like there's like no real gameplay, and funnily enough, some of the assets that are in that game look very similar to the assets that we saw in Abandoned.
Sure.
So
why pay twice for more assets when you can use the same one?
Exactly.
So I saw this new theory recently that I actually think could possibly be the real story here. Hasan is a guy whose idol really is Hideo Kojima, and he knows that Kojima's not at Konami anymore. Konami hasn't been doing anything with the Silent Hill IP, and he decided to, because he's done horror games or horror type games before, to create this game that he could hopefully sell to Konami to get the license for Silent Hill, to basically morph this Abandoned game into Silent Hill. Like, this was almost a marketing attempt from him that went wrong and, you know, gained the wrong sort of attention and maybe went too far. Maybe he thought, if this goes well, if this gets traction at a certain point, Konami might swoop in and say, hey, you know, would you like to take on the Silent Hill license? Maybe we can turn Abandoned into Silent Hill. And it just didn't happen.
What we might be seeing is like an egotistical idiot who just thought like, okay, if I I know what I'm doing. If I make this, like, I know how to play the game. You know, I make this like proof of concept. Konami's going to come begging to me. They're going to say, you make the next Silent. Is this the kind of vibe we might be talking about? Yeah.
Well, I think
that sounds really believable.
It is crazy, but I think I think what he thought maybe was that I can at least make something and then get it to a point with some sort of ARG-esque thing that I create that eventually Konami is like, that's Kojima-esque, and we see that there are now comparisons between your game and Silent Hill, almost like he's inceptioning Konami to think that it's actually a Silent Hill game, when they're like, what the heck, it's not a Silent Hill game. Wait, is it actually a Silent Hill game? We own the IP. You know?
It's like when like J.J. Abrams did Star Trek, but it was like a Star Wars movie, and then it was like inceptioning Disney into being like, oh, we need someone to do Star Wars. You just did that Star Trek movie that was basically Star Wars. It's kind of like that. They're like, oh, you know, I'll make this like basically Silent Hill game enough that Konami will be like, oh, this is the guy. This is the future of the franchise.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that seems extremely plausible. There's all kinds of people who are cocky like that. I believe it.
You know, I would say maybe about 2 weeks ago, I started to turn the corner and just not really believe in this whole conspiracy around this game anymore. As much as I want this to be true, because I think it's so interesting. And like you said, Paula, this would create a great documentary or book, because it's just so fascinating how this has captured so many people. And what's also crazy, it's still a fairly small pocket of the gaming world. Like, this did not explode, but it's still on the tops of a lot of people's minds. You know, it has been over the last 2 months. But I don't know where we go from here. I guess we just at some point need to see this. Let me ask you this. Okay, first question. Are we ever going to see Abandoned? Is it ever going to release as a game?
No.
I think yes, only to prove a point. I think they'll put out a garbage game that has almost no gameplay aspects and isn't finished, just to go, hey, look, we finally came up with our game, and it's just so some people might give them money.
I agree with Paul. I think it eventually will come out. I think. If I am on the spot, that's what I'm saying.
They've canceled several games, so
second question. Yeah, that's legit.
But they're riding high this time on the marketing. I think they might just be like, fuck it, we might be able to make some dollars here.
They could release a broken pile of shit and someone will buy it.
Someone will buy it.
No, question number 2. Will we see this introduction teaser before the end of this month? Which, reminder, we were supposed to see, what was it? Multiple 5 to 12 minute trailers throughout the rest of this month, and we haven't even gotten the intro teaser yet. Are we going to see the intro teaser before the end of the month?
I say no. It's too easy. Also, I want there to be a story. I want this to go longer to be more hilarious, so I say no.
I want to say yes because it's a teaser. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah,
also, like going back to this, we
first teaser of its kind, though. DualSense features.
Oh my god!
It's a real-time experience.
Experience of what? Experience of disappointment.
This is the real-time experience. This discussion. This is it.
Yeah, I think I get enough DualSense features with my normal appendages. I don't really need an experience from Blue Box, so that's fine. I'll say yes. I say yes, we get a teaser. I think it's going to be not what we expect. I think it's going to be a lot shittier, for lack of a better
like black
word.
screen text coming up on the screen.
Yeah.
A lot of footage. Yeah.
A lot of nothing, but we'll get a teaser.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
I agree with that. I think that we are going to get something. I think it's going to be insanely short, and I think you're barely going to see anything, and it's going to be like maybe silhouetted characters or like weird angles where you're not even really seeing characters, you're not really seeing environments. There's going to be something.
I'm thinking not even video. It's like an angled shot still of a character, just with like it kind of like covered over, and the perspective just moves a bit, so they don't have to do fucking anything.
Like it's just zooming in on like a model viewer.
Yeah.
No, I think that's totally possible. But I do think we see something, but it's going to be interesting. Any final thoughts on this before we move on?
Oh, I think we've given more time to this than it ever deserved, but it is darn exciting. It's darn interesting. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah.
That's a great point, Paul. I think that this game that probably is honestly nothing got so much discussion.
Oh, yeah.
It's wild. All right, let's move on. Let's play Name That Game. In Name That Game, I give our panelists up to 10 clues. The clues start off more vague and progressively get more specific. The first panelist to guess correctly wins. You only get one guess, though, and if you're wrong, you're out. Like an umpire. You're out of here.
You're out of here.
All right. We take game title suggestions from our $1 plus supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs. Send us a message if you're a $1 plus supporter, and we'll maybe use it on the next episode. All right, here we go. First clue. This game appeared on 2 consoles and PC. This game first released in 2017. This game sold about 9 million copies. This game's publisher stated that the game did not reach their sales goals. This game is played in both first and third person.
I'd like to solve the puzzle.
Really?
Alex? Is it Star Wars Battlefront 2?
It is. It is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Wow. All right. Here's the remaining clues. Because I wrote them, so I'm going to say them.
Yeah.
Holds a score of 68 on Metacritic on its highest scoring platform. This was one of the most heavily criticized games of the last generation. The Belgian government investigated this game, saying its loot boxes were essentially unlicensed gambling. A developer's Reddit comment is the most downvoted comment of all time, 600,000 some downvotes.
Yeah.
And then finally, this game's microtransactions will give you a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Classic.
Quick one today.
Name that game. That's the one thing I got going on for me.
Name
Yeah,
that game.
apparently I
Name
shouldn't even
Paul's
show
game.
up.
You know what I want to do is at some point I need to put like a little spreadsheet together with like everyone's records and all these games that we
Yeah,
played.
that'd be cool. That'd be fun.
Then I'll make that a trivia game. I'll say who has the most wins and name that game.
Ooh.
It'll be
God,
Paul.
Never know. Yeah, that's true. That's my one game.
Have you won every single? You haven't won every time.
I don't think I've won every name
No.
that game, but I think when someone gets it really early, it's always me. I think usually it's when it's someone else that goes longer.
I mean, he set the tone with the Glover.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's
I threw down the proverbial gauntlet, which was actually a glove.
Yeah, you could, because I forgot you had that, and you had the Witcher guess after Josh guessed it. Like you guessed the
I've had
same
a couple
game as him for
fails.
some reason.
I've had a couple fails in here for sure, but definitely some really quick pickups too. So
Going for your half point in that episode.
yeah, it was beautiful.
All right, well, let's take a quick break and head over to the water cooler to discuss the games that we've been playing this week. Paul, what have you been playing this week?
I'm turning it around on you, Matt. I want you to tell us what you've been playing.
Oh
this
my
week.
gosh! Okay, I'll go first.
I just feel like I feel like you have so much to say. I feel like I really want to hear about the Order 1886.
I'm prepared. Okay, played the Order 1886, finished it, got the platinum. It's short, but really annoying. You have to follow a trophy guide the whole time because the game does not keep track of your collectibles. So you'd have no idea what you may have missed along the way. And like, I don't want to, I was holding my, like when I was getting the last collectible for each trophy, I was holding my breath because I was like, if this trophy doesn't pop, it means I missed something and I have no idea what I missed.
Yeah.
And that would absolutely suck. Luckily, like when you go back, so the game is like 15 or 16 chapters, which by the way, there are some chapters that are literally just like the entire chapter is a cutscene. And it's like maybe like a 15-minute cutscene or like a 10-minute cutscene. And then the next chapter is all gameplay and it's like an hour and a half. It's the pacing makes absolutely no sense in this game. Anyway, so if you're missing a collectible, you can go back to chapter select. Luckily, they have scene selection within the chapter selection. But again, I wouldn't know what I was missing, so I'd have to play through the entire fucking game again, which is absolute insanity. How can you not have a collectible tracker in the game? By the way, the collectibles, you're not actually collecting anything, you're just looking at them. And like, so it's like a flyer or like a little knick-knack or something that your character picks up, and you can rotate it around and whatnot and put it down, but you're not actually collecting.
Is there at least like a voice line or something when they pick it up, so they're like
rarely
about it?
Rarely.
Oh, so you're just picking up an object and then dropping it. There's nothing interesting about it.
Yes. Some of the collectibles are audio recordings. They're like phonograph recordings.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you can't even... So they're like pretty long, and you can't listen to them while you're playing. You have to listen in a menu.
Oh,
which is the worst.
When they do that, yeah.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn did it super well. Like some of them were really long, but you just listen to it while you're continuing to play the game.
Yeah, Fallout has that same thing too, where you can pick up like a holotape or something and then like listen to it as you go or something. That's cool.
Same with BioShock.
Yeah.
The thing about BioShock though, at least BioShock Infinite, that's the one I remember. It plays, but you have to still be in the general location because you don't pick the item up.
Right.
Right?
So then the sound,
isn't that correct?
Starts to fade out.
For the original BioShock, I don't remember it being that way. I remember just picking it up and walking away because you had like a cassette player, I think.
Okay. I think with Infinite I think they're voxophones or what they call it or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to actually stay in the area. Otherwise it'll, as you move away, it gets quieter.
Yeah. I played a game recently that did that and it drove me nuts because I had to I felt like I had to sit and wait for it.
Yeah. It's annoying. Like it's just inconveniences like that. But it's good to know that games, I guess, mostly have progressed since then, so things are getting better.
Well, it helps to slow down the game, which is great when your game doesn't have a lot of content.
True, that's a good point, Paul. It's really
clever little trick.
It's hard to overstate how fucking stupid the stealth killing is in this game.
Yeah.
So you have to press triangle at a specific moment so there's like a circle around the button prompt and it shrinks, and you have to press it like when it's within another circle. And if you mess up, if you miss it, it might take you back to the cutscene that plays at, by the way, like it's not like a live action stealth thing. Like it initiates a cutscene. So if you miss it, it's either taking you back a couple minutes or it's taking you back before like a cutscene that goes into the QuickTime event.
Yeah.
It's not super hard, but it's just annoying when you miss it.
Yeah.
There are so many QuickTime events in this game. And QuickTime events, when the rules and button prompts change throughout the game, just like randomized to make it, I guess, more challenging, even though it's really not. It's not fun. It's just frustrating and annoying because it's like, oh, well, I missed this button prompt because it's different from the last 4 times they asked me to do the same thing. Like instead of pressing square or whatever, which I'm used to pressing for this QuickTime event, now it's circle. It's like, well, okay, well, I my reaction was just to press square, and now you changed it up on me, and now I have to be sent back to the last cutscene. It's annoying. Everything in the game is just tedious and slow. It's like Red Dead 2, but not fun. But to be honest, it kind of makes me sad that this world and these characters were just completely wasted with piss poor gameplay. They found a way to put Jack the Ripper, werewolves, vampires, steampunk England, Nikola Tesla, and the Knights of the Round Table all together in
so
one
cool.
story, and they just pissed it all away. And the game's epilogue just is depressing because it sets you up for a sequel that you're never going to see. So overall,
1987.
Now, despite all of this, overall, I would still recommend this game as an experience to someone who can get it for like $5 or less. Or someone who plays games mostly for story and doesn't really care about gameplay. They want to see maybe someone who wants to see really good visuals because, like I said, it is one of the best looking games I've ever played still. You just can't really do anything in the world, but it looks great.
Yeah. How does this compare to like something like a Quantic Dream game or something? Does it have that kind of vibe where you walk around and interact, or is it even less interactive than something like that?
It's less interactive, and because of the nature of a Quantic Dream game where your actions are directly changing the world, it feels like you have more agency. But with The Order, it's like the entire game is the exact same experience for everyone, and you don't have any agency over your own character really, or you're not doing anything to change the world around you.
Yeah.
I would say I would never say that this is a great or fun game, but like I said, if you can get it for $5 or less, go for it. And if you're looking for an easy platinum, it's fairly easy. The next thing I'll talk about very briefly, because I'm going to jump to you for this, Paul, because I know you did this as well, but the Fortnite Rift Tour. I know we
can talk about it together too.
Yeah, I know you're higher on it than me, Paul. For me, I found it a little bit underwhelming. I found the ending really abrupt. It seemed short.
That was the number one complaint by most people I saw. Yeah, it was just kind of like it's not even abrupt. It was kind of one of those things like, is it over? Because you're still doing something weird. You're on those little like pinata things. You're like, is there still a game? Are we still doing something?
Just free XP loops that you fly.
Yeah, but 200 XP each. It was the funniest thing. Like I saw some people go like, I got all of them, and it gave me like 1 bar of my experience.
Yeah, my wife, she's a big Ariana Grande fan, so she watched the whole thing with me, and at the end she's like, I think it's over. I'm like, no, okay, it can't be over. There's more to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, and then you just see people starting to leave the game or whatever, and yeah, it was over. It was disappointing in that sense. Obviously, like, some of the visuals were really cool. Like you said, you had mentioned to me like the surfing sledding scene or whatever it was really cool. I
was saying that should be like really be like it'd be a fun mini game to put in somewhere in the game somehow. It's that surfing sledding thing was so cool. And they had that great, like, it was like Juice WRLD Marshmallow. It's like a really sick song too, just to like lead in. Initially, it was really cool. The initial intro where like your whatever skin you are is like pulling you through, like the thing was really cool. Like obviously it was intended, I guess, if you had the Ariana Grande skin, then it was giant Ariana like pulling you forward. But if you don't use that, then you're just like whoever is like Rick from Rick and Morty, like pulling you. That's pretty interesting. I'm sure you got like the big Peely skin.
Yeah, the Agent Peely.
Yep.
Which one were you? Oh, you were
I was Dr. Sloan.
Dr. Sloan.
Yeah,
That's right. That's
it was
right.
cool. Yeah, but that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was cool. There were some cool bits. I think some of it was kind of derivative of some other stuff. A lot of the same thing where you bounce up and down on like little mushrooms and stuff. That happened a lot. It was fun. I think it sounds like from what a lot of people said, it's kind of derivative of the Travis Scott thing and some other events they've done in the past. Maybe not necessarily the most unique thing they've ever done, but I mean, not every one of these live concert events has to be the most unique thing they've ever done. I mean, it can be a bit iterative. I mean, I think the biggest news story of this is that they got Ariana Grande, more so than what they showed off with it. Giant Ariana doing her songs and stuff was pretty cool. Like if you're vaguely interested, the sprite was like the model was pretty cool, and like just the design with that giant like diamond hammer thing
Yeah, that was
with like the
strange.
wings, and it was really cool. Like it was neat, and there was like the one where you like follow her up. She's like walking up enormous stairs.
Yeah, I was
and
like trying to
trying
race
get
the
up.
other people up
Yeah,
there.
it was cool. It was fun. I wish it kind of ended a little bit more cleanly, or if somehow it tied in a little bit to the theme of the Fortnite season or something. Just a
Right.
teeny bit, not a lot, but just like maybe the ending, kind of like the aliens. I don't know, just something to kind of make it feel like a little more like a proper ending. But yeah, it was fun. It was a cool experience. I'll definitely check out the next Rift Tour. It didn't like turn me off of the Rift Tour or anything. And if anything, it just made me think, oh, they're still good. They're doing it.
I agree. I think I kind of like the Travis Scott one a little bit better, but also looking back, like that was the first time we experienced something like this, so maybe that had something to do with it as well.
I also think the theme of the music with Travis Scott too, like, fit better with what they were doing.
Right.
The Ariana thing, the Ariana thing fit really well with what her music was. I just think maybe that didn't fit what I wanted to play. Like if you were like an Ariana fan, you want to go to like a Fortnite concert of Ariana Grande. I think that kind of was what you like. You're kind of following her around, and she's the center of everything, and you're like going that. Like I feel like that kind of fits her fandom and her persona. I think it kind of worked. It just wasn't what I find interesting enough too. So.
The shooter plane segment was neat.
That was really fun. Cool. Apparently, it's a callback. Apparently, they've done that before in a different event. So, I think.
Paul, we'll come back to you. I want to let Mike talk here and tell us a little bit about what he's been playing this week.
So I've started getting into Oxygen Not Included, which might be a game that is the bane of your existence, Matt, based on conversations we've had. I've tried to get into it a few times, like 2 or 3 times, probably a few years ago and then a year ago, and now I finally was able to grasp it. It's really complicated, not very intuitive, pretty punishing. Things kind of just go to shit real fast.
Really?
And yeah, because you have to balance your oxygen level to make sure that people can breathe. You got to get food somehow. And you have to do sanitation. And when you do sanitation, you end up polluting a lot, which then means that like your water supply is getting polluted, or you just end up with like a lot of debris everywhere. And it's just cluttered all over the ground. It's like, okay, now what? I don't have enough storage usually to just like shove it in a bin, so I usually just leave it on the ground. And then there's the certain things like the algae piles that produce air by using carbon dioxide, which kind of purifies your air to begin with. That stuff leaves polluted water, which you have to then bottle and then move somewhere else and then unbottle it so that it's not leaking all over the floor and polluting your air because of bubbles. And yeah, so it's a lot. It feels like the gateway drug to something like RimWorld, which I also have. And RimWorld is super complicated, and I feel like if I can nail down Oxygen Not Included, RimWorld might be my next dive in. But yeah, I've been playing that. I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight, not really sure as to why. Just kind of picked it up and have been playing a lot of it lately. I think because with the whole Blizzard thing, I stopped playing Heroes of the Storm for the most part, at least for the time being. So I wanted something that was, I won't say chill because it's not, but something competitive. And yeah, Dead by Daylight's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward. They've been teasing what their next expansion is, what their next DLC. They've been teasing some killer, kind of.
Who is it?
They so they released 3 letters in like images. S-I-N-A. People
Oh my
don't
God,
know.
Sia?
Oh my God, it's yeah, you nailed it.
Siren Head?
No,
I want to swing you
Or
from the
that's a thing,
chandelier.
right?
people were thinking it was going to be Pennywise,
Damn.
but SINA doesn't. This was
No.
before that teaser, and now
Yeah.
that teaser's out, people are like, I've seen someone consider maybe it's not the name of the killer, but it's the name of a survivor, and it's
Okay.
Isaac Clarke,
Yep.
which would be really cool and a nice tie-in with Dead Space. But I don't know.
Have they ever done like? Is it always like movie stuff or like
Mm,
movie and game properties, or is it?
yes. It's been movie and game properties for the most part.
Have they ever done
Um,
like something that's not like necessarily a copyrighted IP, but like a creepy pasta type thing?
Yeah, they've also done that.
Cool.
Well, not really creepypasta, but they have their own like
originals,
Folklore or
yeah.
something.
yeah, originals, folklore. They have stuff like that.
Okay.
I'd love to try Dead by Daylight again. I should try that this week.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
I
mean,
wanted to. I've tried it a couple times, and I played it like a really long time ago. It was kind of glitchy, but maybe I'll give it another go.
it's been pretty solid recently when I've been playing.
Hasn't it always been kind of janky?
When I first played it was, which is what kind of turned me off, but like it's been really solid since I've gotten back into it.
Cool.
Okay.
Which I think is what helped me, is that like everything, the movement feels fine. Everything seems pretty balanced. There's only a few killers where if I get them as the killer against me, I'm like, oh shit, I'm probably going to die.
Yeah.
Don't bother picking up items this round because I won't be taking them home with me. But like those are rare to come across. So yeah, it seems like it's in a really good place right now.
Good.
I think from a next DLC standpoint, I think it'd be cool if they did something a little bit more interesting. I didn't find the Pennywise suggestion very interesting personally because I don't really
Yeah.
care for it.
Right. Same.
I think something that would be interesting. So Dead by Daylight devs, if you are listening,
Of course they are.
something that I haven't seen and I think would be interesting would be like Norman Bates.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah.
I think he'd be really cool because one of the creepier killers, at least one of the creepiest killers for me, is Michael Myers.
Absolutely.
Like,
I always say this. I rewatched. I made Rachel rewatch the original Halloween with me last year,
mhm.
and she laughed the whole time because if you've never seen it, there's some goofy bits, like
Yeah.
especially in the original one where he's just kind of like standing behind some curtains and stuff. But honestly, if you buy into it, he's so scary, and it's just like he's a normal. That's why I hate the Rob Zombie movies. He's a normal person. Like he has no like. I mean, like it gets a little magic later on, but like ignore the magic. He's a normal guy. He just like walks because he knows he's gonna get you. Like holy shit!
Mhm.
Like it's so scary.
I love the Halloween
Yeah.
movies.
Same.
In Dead by Daylight, I think so I've played against some Michael Myers that he doesn't have a terror radius.
Okay.
So like you don't usually your heart rates, you hear your heartbeat start going up when the killer gets near.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that when he gets near, and then he kind of just like walks into the room, and then the Halloween music starts playing, and you're like,
badass.
"Oh shit!"
Oh my god!
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, I really gotta try this.
He's really good. So like for me, like a Norman Bates, and my thought process on it was like, if you made a killer that could hide within the survivors, because Norman Bates is pretty normal until he turns into Mother. Like, I think that's a cool idea and is different.
I'm imagining like that thing with like if they had it set up somehow where they had like the swinging like light bulb part with him coming in and like in the mother dress and everything. Oh, like I just somehow if that could be like something like an entrance to a room. Oh my god, it's so scary. That should scare the hell out of me.
Oh yeah. So been playing Oxygen Not Included, doing a little bit of Guild Wars as usual. Played some Potion Craft, and I think that's it.
I think Dead by Daylight has to be a Groofs Let's Play this October.
That would be so fun. I think it'd be a really great Let's Play or like a stream game. That'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah,
that sounds
definitely
really fun.
We'll all turn the lights off and scare the shit out of each other.
Now, Paul, I'm gonna mention my last game here because it's gonna feed into you after that.
Okay.
So the last thing I played this week was Donut County, and short platinum, took maybe like 3 hours or so, maybe 3.5 hours, because the last trophy was a pain. And the guides didn't even really make sense for it, for this last trophy I'm talking about. But I eventually got it somehow. When I finally got it, I just looked over at my wife. I'm like, don't know how I just got that one, but I did. So there we go, platinum. Strange game.
It is.
But the number one thing that stood out for me is, and Mike, have you played Donut County?
I have not, but I know what it is.
So the number one thing that stood out to me is that there's legitimately really funny dialogue in this game.
Yeah, there is. I actually laughed a few times.
And that is like, I feel like that's super rare in games. Like, you don't often get something that is actually funny enough to make you laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And this game did that. The characters are super weird. The whole situation is super weird. I like how in their actual dialogue, they'll say like LOL. Like, their dialogue with each other is like text messages almost.
It's so dry, like the way they'll be like someone will say something and they're like, LOL, okay, dude, like not that. Like it's like very dry. It's, I don't know. It's they like call each other out on what they say and you're like, yeah, you're right. That was cringy. Like it's, I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I think it doesn't play super well on consoles because you're like, you have a pointer at some situations, so your stick is like a pointer moving around the screen. I think it just works really well for mobile and on PC, probably. Paul, you played it on Xbox?
I played it on Xbox. I had a fine experience. I thought the stick worked well for like aiming a hole around.
That I thought it worked okay for. There were times
I guess like 99% of it. Was there even another type of gameplay? I'm trying to remember.
No, that was pretty much it. I mean, the boss battle changed how you did it a little bit, but like when you were able to start shooting things up out of the hole.
Yeah. Cool. That was a fun game.
But yeah, I think it would probably play really well on mobile and on PC when you have the mouse. At times, I wish that the hole could have controlled with the right stick instead of the left stick. Maybe give my left thumb a little bit of a break, or like,
yeah, I get that.
You know, so I wish you could have done both. But you can't. It is what it is. It's a short game, so it's really not that bad. If it were longer, I would have wished, for that option, I guess. But I recommend this game right now. I think still it's only like $3 on the PlayStation Store. So
also on Game Pass.
On Game Pass as well. It's really cheap or free on Game Pass. Well, that's a pet peeve of mine saying free on Game Pass. Not really free, but it's
included
on Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah.
So yeah, check it out. It's fun. Paul, what else did you play this week?
Just rounding it out. Nothing, don't go too long, but I did start playing Curse of the Dead Gods, which I mentioned last week. I was going to start playing. I did. It's a lot of fun. It's great. It has replaced playing Dead Cells for me right now a lot. In fact, it's kind of replaced me playing Fortnite. It's kind of been the game. I just turn on my Xbox and I start playing Curse of the Dead Gods immediately. I'm kind of sucked in to the loop. It's a lot of fun. I haven't even scratched the surface of all the different types of weapons you can get, and I find the gameplay really satisfying. The vibe's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it made me really excited that as of I think tomorrow, Hades is on Game Pass, so that might affect my Curse of the Dead Gods playthrough, because I might start playing Hades and never touch Curse of the Dead Gods again. But it has made me realize that this type of style and this gameplay and this look for a roguelike is totally up my alley, and just made me more and more excited for Hades tomorrow. So, woohoo!
Friday the 13th. It's Hades Day, huh?
I forgot tomorrow was Friday the 13th. Wow, apropos of us talking about Dead by Daylight, too.
Yeah. By the way, that Dead by Daylight discussion just really made me want to play the game. I really do think we have to do that stream.
I was going to say, even if we don't stream it, we should all just try to play Dead by Daylight this weekend or something. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd love to try.
Well, let's move on. All right, audience questions. Every week we address 2 or 3 audience questions, comments, or concerns. We take questions from our supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs. Leave your questions in the comments section of the previous episode's post. The $1 tier will get you access to question submissions. We also take submissions from gamegroofs@gmail.com and in the YouTube comments, but our patrons will always receive priority. Now, again, I wrote both these questions this week because no one wrote in. So write in, people. This one comes from Kyle, who doesn't exist. We heard
how dare you?
Yeah. We heard from Kotaku today that GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas will likely all be getting a remaster bundle soon. This remaster trend has been in full swing since the start of the last console generation. My question to you is, what game would you most like to see get the remaster or remake treatment? Well, let's go to you first.
In terms of here's what I'll give you. They've done I guess not a remaster. What I would want is what I always want: Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
I want a remake. I want a Crash. It's About Time, or what is it called?
Crash 4 is, it's about time.
Okay, yeah. I want the sorry, I just thought you played it, but
No, I never played Crash 4. I should, but Crash
you should.
Crash frustrates the hell out of me. So
That's true. I remember you saying that. Yeah, I'd love a full remake Banjo-Kazooie. We got Yooka-Laylee from some of the old developers, spiritual successor, but didn't really hit. I'd love, I mean, obviously maybe not Rare at this point because it's not really the same company, but it'd be cool to see Microsoft take one of the many studios they have and build like a really cool 3D platformer with those characters. I think that would be a total blast. It may not be the most successful thing, but I think 3D platformers are having a bit of a renaissance, and I feel like Super Lucky's Tale and Yooka-Laylee, and there's been some things on Game Pass and some other places that I feel like Microsoft has been trying to maybe get platformers back, and I feel like this would be the thing to do it and to really have a successful, popular, maybe blockbuster platformer. I don't know. Be cool though. Be cool to see.
Someone needs to either enter into some sort of contract or purchase the developer that made A Hat in Time.
Yeah.
And just get a deal with them, and then you'll be all set. Mike, what about you?
I had an answer. What is my answer? Oh, Knights of the Old Republic. Bring it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remaster KOTOR,
100%.
please. I want it. I don't know what else to really say. I've been looking forward to a 3. I know there's rumors that it's in the works. I was
gonna say that, yeah.
But I'm worried that's gonna miss the. I only played 2. Let's put a caveat on that. But like, I feel like I'm going into the rumors for 3 very cautiously because I feel like it's might miss the feeling and just the heart that KOTOR 2 had. I know it was released super buggy. I know it was released with like really some unfinished storylines. It wasn't a perfect game by any means, but I don't know, there's just something, maybe it's just nostalgia, but KOTOR 2 just kind of resonates. So give me a remaster, fix it.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one too, especially when you're talking about the 3. Because Matt and I were talking about this in the replay this last week, I think, about how surprisingly good Legendary Edition Mass Effect did. And how I saw a lot of people kind of saying like, hey, the reason this did so well is because they don't make games like this anymore. And so if people want this kind of game, like a remaster is the only option. And so this is like a lot of people wanting this like classic BioWare game. And it makes me wonder, KOTOR 3, something like that, is that even really going to be the same kind of game, or is it going to be more servicey? And I mean, if they were to make another game like that, I have very little faith that it would be like the original. And I think a remaster of the originals might be the closest thing you'd get.
Can I take back my answer now that you mentioned Mass Effect? Dragon Age Origins, please.
Yes.
Do it. You've proven that you know how to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, like you said, Jason Schreier has reported that a remake for the first KOTOR game is in development by Asper, which is a port studio that they're actually the team that ported the original game to iOS.
Which was a really cool port, by the way.
They mostly existed as a port studio for macOS and iOS, but they do have a history of working with BioWare. They ported Jade Empire as well, so there's a little bit of a history with BioWare there, and sounds like they are the team behind this remake, whether it sees the light of day or not. It's in development. So my answer would be that I think I'd like to see the first 2 Kingdom Hearts games get a remake on modern consoles. And I say remake, not remaster, because some things do need to be updated. The second game feels a little bit more modern. The first game does feel pretty outdated at this point. But I would like to see a fresh coat of paint on the Kingdom Hearts games. Just make it in the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine, I guess, you know. I'd also, as another little throw in here, I'd like to see an updated Wind Waker on the Switch. So let's get that over to the Switch, please. I don't have a Wii U. I think there was a remaster on the Wii U.
I think so as well.
Yep.
Don't have a Wii U, so let's put that bad boy on the
should
Switch.
get one.
Do you want one?
They're pretty great. Yeah,
I
you should
don't
get
want
one.
one. No,
They're
because
cheap.
all the
I
games
could
are on the
send you
Switch
mine.
now, so except for Wind Waker.
Except for there's a few, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
Do you want to play
was,
Breath of the Wild on Wii U?
Yeah, it was a Wii U game.
I will say the Wii U, as much shit as it gets, like it was fun as a party console.
I had a lot of fun with it. In fact, I still don't have my Wii U because I left it at a friend's house. We used to always go to his house to play games, and I left my Wii U there, and then we haven't really talked in years. And he has my Wii U, so I'm just never gonna get it back. But yeah, it's like it was such a fun party console, like a total blast. Not something I would ever sit in my living room and really play, but yeah, probably the most since I was a kid that I played like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart and all those things.
I mean, it had good software, as evidenced by the fact that they're porting all of it to the Switch. So
it was better than the Switch software for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like even I think one of the things that the Switch kind of misses that like the Wii U had for me it was a wow factor was the fact that you could do like 1v4 multiplayer games because someone could have the pad and be doing something on the pad while 4 other players are playing on the TV screen. So there was like a lot of first party stuff. I think it was like called Nintendo Land, where you could play like mini games in which one person is overlording you and the others are trying to do some other objective. It was neat. I like the idea of asymmetrical multiplayer.
Yeah.
Why I like Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
Yep. And I liked Evolve when it came out, and it didn't have $500 worth of DLC the day it launched.
Yeah. You know, like that asymmetrical stuff is possible with Xbox and PlayStation. Like there are apps where you can do that kind of stuff. They just don't really utilize it. Like there's this trivia game that I play on PlayStation called Knowledge is Power that's all played on phone, through a phone app. And it's awesome. And I wish there were more games that were, you know, bigger titles that did that sort of thing.
Did you ever play 1 versus 100 on Xbox?
No, I really wish I did. I don't think it exists anymore, right?
It does. It definitely doesn't.
I really wanted to. I never did though.
It was a good experience.
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
It was one of those things where like I heard about it maybe after you could still play it. It's another one of those things where like Netflix on Xbox used to have the party watch feature, and it doesn't anymore. Like that's a cool thing that would have been neat to have.
It's kind of like it was kind of like a video game version like 10 years early for like HQ trivia, like that kind of thing that was so popular for that like 2-month period.
Nice.
But it was a lot of fun.
Was 1 versus 100 the first battle royale?
That's what I was gonna ask.
That's a great question. That honestly feels like that's a really interesting question.
Battle Royale. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think
love
so.
That. By the way, the days of HQ trivia, I have like weird nostalgia for that now. Like like doing it on I forget what year it was, but New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
they did a really big one.
They had celebs come in. It was all if it wasn't Scott Rogowski, I wasn't playing HQ trivia.
That dude was
the best. I still accidentally quote his like he had so many quotables, and I still get that. I said, let's get down to the nitty gritty, baby. I think of that all the time. No, I love that. He actually does like I think he works for not ESPN. I think he works for like DAZN, that app I was telling you about, or one of those things. He does like sports hosting now, which is what he always wanted to do anyway.
Good
or something.
For him.
And I was like, that totally fits his whole vibe too. It's totally. But anyway, yeah, HQ, a good time. They got wrecked because I think another good example of like devs and a company behind it who were insanely sketchy and weird. I don't know, blue box scenario.
Yeah, those apps became a fad, and then they just completely went away.
Yeah, and I think partly with HQ is that they actually maybe had staying power, but the person who owned it was like really sketchy and trying to like screw over all the people. They were like involved with like sexual misconduct allegations and like weird embezzlement. It was like a whole. It was a mess.
All right. Well,
yeah, it was like a perfect storm of bad.
Next question. This one comes from Soulja Boy. He wrote in.
Callum.
What is objectively the worst game you ever finished or played a lot of hours in? And I'll go first. I'll throw an honorable mention to the Order 1886. But my answer is probably Arcade Unchained. I put about 30, 35 hours or so into that MMO, and I think most people would tell you that it's objectively really bad, at least like when you get to the end game, because it's like people who are the whales are the ones who have success in that game. And the leveling, even when I was doing it, the game wasn't super old, and there was absolutely just like no one else out in the world with me.
Yeah.
And it also was just like one of those stories, like I don't really care about what's happening right now. And yeah, I mean the game really wasn't that good, but I was going through that period of just playing every MMO and just learning about every MMO, trying to, I don't know, do my weird nerdy MMO research. But anyway, Mike, what is your answer to this question? What's objectively the worst game you've ever finished or put a lot of hours into?
I would have to deep dive to get like a real answer, but I'm gonna make a guess. Assassin's Creed 3.
Oh,
It is real bad.
yeah, it is.
I powered through because I wanted to see what happened to Desmond, because that was the most interesting part of that game. I think Desmond was probably the most interesting part of the Assassin's Creed trilogy, and the fact that they went away from the meta storyline kind of sours me to the series. I think I'll go on a brief tangent. I think if Infinity gets this whole game hub and brings in a meta story in which you go into different worlds to experience different stories inside those worlds, but still ties it back to a main story, that would bring Assassin's Creed back from the current state of affairs. Because as much as I like Odyssey as a game, it's a fantastic RPG, fantastic game. It's not an Assassin's Creed. Refuse to believe that. And Origin wasn't great, but it was okay. And I haven't played Valhalla. I mean to, because I have an Xbox One or Xbox Series X now. So that is the game that I plan to play on it, but I haven't gotten a chance to. But side note out of the way. Assassin's Creed 3, horrible game. They decided to change the control scheme from what it had always been. For Assassin's Creed 3, they're like, oh, your counter button is now B instead of X or whatever it was. And it's just like, why did you change this? The storyline started off interesting because you played as Nathaniel, and then they were like, joke's on you, play as Connor. Oh, Connor's super boring, kind of whiny, don't care about his story at all, but I have to push through it. And then Colonial America turns out really bad for climbing and free running. And
yeah.
The forests weren't better, so
yeah.
Only thing it had going for it was ships.
Yeah.
I'm getting flashbacks to the original Twilight movie where like they have like the awkward special effects of like Edward jumping from tree to tree in the Pacific Northwest.
That's basically what it was.
Like first 2 hours of that game are good, and then the rest is just really bad. It sucks because like you just don't get games set in that like the American Revolution, which is like an interesting time period to put a game in, and you just don't see a lot of games at that time. So
no.
And yeah, it just kind of squandered, and like you said, doesn't make for a good Assassin's Creed environment with parkour.
No. And it was getting a little bit silly for me. So Desmond, right, in the first game, you're playing as, oh my god, I can't remember his name.
Altair.
Altair, thank you. You're playing as Altair, you're in Jerusalem, Middle East area. Okay, this is one of Desmond's ancestors. Makes sense. Desmond looks like he is Middle Eastern, at least somewhat.
Right.
Okay, then you go and play as Ezio, which is arguably my favorite and probably the best Assassin's Creed era of 2 and Brotherhood. Revelations was not great, but whatever. Now Desmond is part Italian. Okay, that's fine. We're in America. He could be a mutt. Now all of a sudden he's part Native American and also part British and also part this and also part Welsh. And I'm like, okay, Desmond.
Desmond
How
needs to
are
do
you
23andMe
everything?
and get some shit straight.
Exactly. That's when it started. I was like, all right, I'm confused.
The game's a secret ad for ancestry.ca
Yeah.
or .com, whatever. Yeah.
That's funny. Paul, what about you?
Yeah. So I mean, I had a couple. I was kind of like micro. It was hard for me to think of necessarily of like a. I have to do a bit of a deep dive, but I had two kind of answers. One is kind of along the lines of what you were saying, not specifically Arcade, but I will say I think the most time I've spent playing bad games is when I kept trying to play various free MMOs every
I
week.
thought you were going to say
Constantly
Rift,
trying.
and I was about to.
No. I mean, that's one of them. That's one of the ones I'll say. But I think to be fair, I don't think Rift is an objectively bad game. I just think it's not a game I liked.
You also didn't spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah. Not none. 10, 12 hours or so maybe. Anyway. But yeah, but I mean, mostly just a lot of free MMOs. I went through a period definitely from the age of like 14 to 17 or so where I probably just every other week was trying out another free MMO I could find. Even when WoW was existing, you were there for a lot of it,
Yeah.
Matt, as well as another friend of ours even before then too. Just trying out, especially before WoW came out too. I remember being super young and trying out all these like terrible ones. There was this one called Fang Online, where you turned into like a weird gelatin, and I don't even know. It was really bad. But I remember playing that for like weeks on end. Like there were just so many, and they were awful games, but like the MMO aspect was so alluring that I would play anything to get it. So that was definitely probably not a game specifically, but I will say a game specifically. I hate to say objectively bad game, but I think it is objectively bad as a game, and that is not idle games in general, because I think there's something to be said for idle games, but cookie clickers specifically.
I knew you were going to say that for some reason.
Before I said idle games?
Yeah, right before that. Yeah.
I just listen. I think there's a lot. I've played so. Matt. I think you got me to play Cookie Clicker initially.
Yeah, I played a lot of Cookie Clicker in college.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We all played Cookie Clicker in college, dude. Yeah. It was. Listen. When you get to a point when every time I want to play Cookie Clicker, I load up a Java thing so I can like have it tell me exactly what to buy and when, and like it dings when the golden cookies come up, and I'm like, I'm not even playing the vague concept of a game that's here. Like it just tells me when to click a thing, and I click the thing, and it's like, oh, okay, am I getting something done? No, I'm making numbers go up in a browser. It's completely useless. Is there a story? Well, the Grandma Apocalypse. There's late game. There's actually some mini games, but like late game is like weeks into doing this, especially if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have heavenly chips. Honest to goodness, it's just like I've recently played Universal Paperclip and A Dark Room, both which have endings and are idle games and are actually pretty interesting. They have like a vague story, a vague ending. The Crank also has a kind of story and is like more engaging. You have to really, if you leave the screen, you got to get back quick to keep your crank moving. Like there's like some engaging gameplay to it slightly. Cookie Clicker's just off on its own. And at this point, if you're not playing with one of the Cookie Monster plugin, you're never going to get far enough anyway. So that just tells you how to play the game. So anyway, for my money, definitely Cookie Clicker. I have put, I don't even want to know, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours. I put a lot of time into Cookie Clicker. I just used to just work retail jobs where I didn't have anything to do, and like the computers weren't monitored or anything. I would just like have Cookie Clicker running all day at work. I'd be like cookie clicking, and I have a million games of Cookie Clicker running. So
yeah, it's coming to Steam.
Well, that's kind of what made me think of it too. Is it's coming to Steam, and a lot of people were talking about it. Like, okay, is this still a thing? Like, are there good? Other people were like, what's an actual good idle game that I can play? And they're like, oh well, Universal Paperclip or something.
Very similar game that I played on mobile at one point was, I think it's called Adventure Capitalist.
Yeah, so there's a lot of mobile games like that. Adventure Capitalist, Adventure Communist, and they have another one too. It's like Folklore Heroes. Eggs Inc. is a good one too. But yeah, Adventure Capitalist is actually pretty fun. But if you play for like, the problem is with these games, I just play them and it becomes like my whole day. Like I'm 10 hours just, I'm like, oh, I'll put it away and I'll go back to it. But then your offline winnings aren't as good as your in-game. So then I end up just looking at it for 10 hours. But Adventure Capitalist is really fun, but you reach a certain point, again, all these games, you reach a certain point where you're like, what am I even doing? Right. Like, where did my last 3 days go? And like, this is only going to get worse the more I play this game. And there's like 3 different worlds in Adventure Capitalist, like different planets you can go to. And I'm like, and then you're running all the different planets, and it's like, oh, I reached a pinnacle in this on Earth in Adventure Capitalist. But what if I go back to the moon? Like, will there be more to do? Oh, there's more to do again. And it's built to keep you never turning your phone screen off. It's dangerous.
Yeah, at a certain point, you're like, what? I'm not accomplishing anything. Like,
nothing.
This is just, it's going forever.
It makes you feel good because of the numbers and seeing the numbers go up, and it is cool, and there's optimization feelings. But honestly, it lasts only a certain point before you hit a roadblock, and then it really starts to set in. And I think, again, like an idle game with like a vague concept of a story is actually pretty cool, or even little achievements that feel, I don't know, like change it visually a bit more or something like that. Eggs Inc. or whatever that one is cool because your farm gets bigger and bigger, and it kind of changes the layout of things, and that's kind of fun. And again, universal paperclip and stuff, there's actually like an interesting kind of story, and the game changes halfway through a bunch, and that's cool. But God, these idols that just just the same thing forever, it gotta go.
All right, let's move on. New mini game, pitch meeting. In pitch meeting, our panelists and myself have to pitch a game by combining 2 or 3 existing games and telling us which features we'll take from those games to make it fun and interesting. For example, you might pitch something like Dark Souls meets Animal Crossing, where you defend your home from various villagers before fighting the final boss, a disgustingly horrifying Tom Nook. The 3, or in this case today, 2 other members of the panel will vote on your pitch. If you get at least 2/3, or today, both of the panelists on board, your project is greenlit. All right, who are we going to go with first here? Let's go with Paul. Pitch us your project, Paul.
All right. So imagine this: we have a nice storyline here. We enter on a cinematic. All of a sudden, you see kind of colorful characters. They're talking to each other. Very 3D. Think like a remake of Banjo-Kazooie or something, or a Crash, one of those new games. Very has a 3D platformer kind of vibe to it. The characters are talking. We're uncovering a mystery. All of a sudden, right before you get to a certain point, the game, you start your platforming. You're doing a 3D platformer. Then all of a sudden the villains come out, and the villains just aren't like a normal guy you jump on or who tries to. They have high-powered rifles.
Whoa.
So pretty soon you're on the platform and you realize you can't. There's no possible way. It would be insanely difficult to get past this point without fighting back.
Right.
You can't just. So this is when your character breaks. They realize, I have to take this gun. I have to fight back. And this game is Crash Bandicoot meets Call of Duty. We're talking 3D platformer with guns.
Whoa.
We're talking, you're platforming, you're jumping, you're trying to make sure you're prepared, but also people are trying to shoot you off, and you have to shoot them out at the same time. I don't know if anyone's done a game that is a 3D platformer with guns that really is focused on the platforming specifically. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there probably are some indie things or something. But I feel like it's a lot more of a 2D thing. So that's my idea.
Original. I'll say that. I will say, I thought we were going a Glover direction at first.
Oh yeah.
So I was, I'm glad we went somewhere else.
No, we didn't go Glover. Yeah, I just think it would be insanely difficult. It's already very hard to platform, and then when people bounce you off, the idea that they can also shoot you and you have to actively shoot at them back while you're trying to platform sounds insanely chaotic and kind of interesting.
Paul, I like where you're going with this. I really do. I think that it needs more time. I think you need to go back to the lab with this one a little bit, refine some things, bring it back to us after that. For right now, I got to give you a thumbs down. I can't approve it. Mike, what about you?
Thumbs down.
I mean, you kind of lost me at the guns part. I mean, I don't. What are we shooting here? Like, if it's a 3D platformer, am I shooting at my beloved characters of Banjo-Kazooie or
no? So you're the
Crash?
beloved character. You're adorable. And these are all like G-men kind of thing. They're awful. They look like they're like cartoony guys in like a robber's outfit maybe.
Okay.
And they have very realistic looking guns that shoot extremely.
Is this single player? I might have missed that part.
100%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm all in. Let's go.
Yeah,
Thumbs
perfect.
up.
All right.
Unfortunately, Paul, you did not get approval from both of us, so your project
oh,
is not greenlit.
how dare you?
Sorry to tell you. Mike, let's hear your project.
Oh boy. All right. So you jump out of a plane. You've got only two things on you. You got a piece of paper and a pencil. All right. And a parachute. And
well, okay. That
Piece of
changes
paper. Come on.
things.
that's not in your hands. That's attached to you. But you land on the you and about 99 other people jump out of this plane and land in a large field, or maybe a ruined city.
Mhm.
And your job is to go around collecting numbers. You can steal numbers from other people by, any means necessary. But you need to collect these numbers for one reason only. You have to solve one of the most famous and most popular puzzles known to man.
Oh.
You've been given a
No.
Sudoku puzzle.
No. Thumbs all the way down. 2 thumbs down.
Sudoku Battle Royale.
Let's go.
Honestly, like I could see this being a really cool mobile game, not a mobile game I would ever fucking play.
Oh.
But you think about like Tetris Battle Royale exists, right? So like why can't Sudoku Battle Royale?
I think this is a full-on piece. No, see, here's the thing. What you say by any means necessary. What's in here? Can we have combat? Can we have weapons? Are we attacking each other? What do we do? How do we get numbers from someone else?
So I think the game should have, basically anything on the table. You can get into hand-to-hand combat. You can go stealth route and just like try to pick their pockets. I considered the idea of being able to take their paper away from them, which would take them out of the game, but that seems a little unfair. I mean, this is Sudoku after all. Like everyone wants to play it. We don't want to be too brash.
That's so fair. If anyone's playing this game, we don't want to shoo anyone away. We're not in a position to be shooing people away from the Sudoku Battle Royale. So
for me, you get a thumbs up because I think we're gonna sell some copies.
Hey,
I think it's a very original idea, but I just feel like there's a piece missing from it that involves the thing that makes me, who doesn't even play Sudoku, want to play it. And I feel like getting them from other people or something. I just feel like there's like something there that's specific that needs to be there. So it's a thumbs down from me.
I think we could even maybe pull things back, make it just straight up Sudoku in a battle royale format. The quicker you solve, you get a second puzzle come in, and you just have to keep solving.
Sudoku isn't about speed, Matt. Actually, I don't know. Is it?
I have no idea.
I mean, why not?
Could be.
Yeah.
It's mostly about accuracy, but let's add it.
Yeah. You know what makes accuracy even more difficult? Speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, unfortunately, you didn't make the cut. You're not green.
It's okay.
Right. Now,
I'll go pitch it to Blue Box.
Now, good luck with that. They're busy trying to put a teaser together.
Might become the new Silent Hill if you do that.
Yeah. That would be my horror game, so I can tell you that. My pitch is you guys went a little more of the humorous route with yours. Mine's an actual game I would love to play. So
I would like to play 3D platformer with guns. I'm not going to lie.
I would like to play a Sudoku Battle Royale.
Okay, well, you know what? All right. Here's my pitch. And I know I'm already going to have Paul on board. The second I say what this, it's Sea of Thieves meets Conan Exiles. Okay? I can live with it not being a full-on MMO. Listen, I love MMOs. I can live with this game not being a full-on MMO.
MMO light.
But I want a big pirate exploration game, RPG with larger sessions, at least 60 people playing together on the same server. Now, as far as the servers go, though, I like the Sea of Thieves dynamic servers where you just jump in and play. Not like the Conan Exiles one where you're picking a server and it's the same, you have the one character on the server. I want the dynamic servers, but I like the idea of guilds and clans or whatever you want to call them being connected. So, if you want to log in and play with other people in your clan that are playing, then you get sent to their server. Okay? That's what we're doing here. I want it to be, the more casual, friendly nature of Sea of Thieves with progression, customization, RP potential that you get in Conan Exiles. I like that with both of these games, being higher level or having, cooler stuff doesn't necessarily make you better. Specifically with Sea of Thieves, like, as weird as it is to say, it's all cosmetic, so it's all skill.
Yeah.
And just personal experience with the game. Conan
And
Exiles,
understanding the glitchy jank so you can
yes.
play correctly.
Conan, a little bit more gear and stuff helps you, but you can still, like, if you're skilled, if you can dodge and hit people and all that kind of stuff, you could still beat a higher level player. Graphically, I would want it to be more realism, with Conan, like Conan Exiles, but I still want that humor, the magic, and the mystery of Sea of Thieves. All the puzzles and all that
and
kind
the
of
water
stuff.
graphics, of course.
And the water graphics, gotta have that. I imagine it being more third person, but playable in first person. So that's my game. Is this going to market?
All right, so let's talk about server costs. No. It's like how can I nitpick you, but I can't really. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of fun.
So one thing that I would like to do, let's reel back on the realistic graphics. Let's do
Okay.
something stylized.
Okay.
Because this
Like Sea of
sounds
Thieves.
like some. I would
not that style, but stylized.
something like Valheim or something along those lines.
Okay.
Because I wanna dial that back just because this sounds like a game that might be able to last 10 years.
Good point.
And we don't want it to look dated. Outside of that, I mean, I think there's something here. I'm worried that the market doesn't exist because there are people who are satisfied with Sea of Thieves, and there are people that are satisfied with Conan Exiles.
True.
Maybe they want the mash together. Maybe they don't. I'm not sure, but I am surprised that there isn't a game like this already out there. I've been trying to rack
Bones
my brain.
is on the way, my friend.
I'm essentially giving
That's
Ubisoft
true.
their next plan for Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's fair.
MMO Lite, let's scrap it. We'll get to that.
yeah.
I'll give you a thumbs up.
All right.
I like this. This.
I wanted to make you feel sweat a little bit, but I mean, obviously it's a great idea. I love it. I'm just into MMO lights. You pitch me an MMO light kind of game, and where you can actually have some fun gameplay without the MMO aspect and not holding it back. Yet you can still have a bunch of people on there. That's like we're almost at my dream here. But like I will say, dynamic servers is a huge push because I loved playing Conan Exiles. But as you know, Matt, it's so hard to find a good server because the official servers are garbage, and finding specific servers by people is tough. Even when we found a really good RP server, there's so much drama and everyone's like people who know each other, and it's like it's a good server, but also like if you get on the bad side of them, they'll make up some excuse to delete all your shit, and it's like okay, like it's tough. It's tough to do that, and I think obviously official servers, the Conan, kind of offer the same thing, but honestly, I think the dynamic server option seems kind of cool. Maybe as an option, as an official server, and maybe there are still going to be like private servers. I don't know. It might be kind of cool, but but I like it. I think there's not enough pirate stuff, and when there is, it's usually got a lot of caveats. And Sea of Thieves is the closest I think we have to being like a really, really fun pirate game. And so I think taking some of that, but making it a little more RPG and a little more serious could be kind of fun. So yeah, obviously thumbs up for me. You knew it from the second you said it. So.
I knew it. Put it to market.
Mm-hmm.
Sell the game. All right.
I wish. Oh my gosh, I would pay legitimate money for that.
Let's move on to the roast. We're going to end this week's show with a short roast. I'm going to give the panel a game or franchise, and they're going to give it a one-line roast. They may love the game, but now is the time to end it with a knockout punch. Welcome to the roast of No Man's Sky. I'll go first. I'd like to congratulate No Man's Sky on their 5th anniversary. Wow, truly amazing. People still play and talk about this game today. A truly incredible feat when you think about it. In 5 years, for the 10th anniversary, maybe we can finally celebrate the game going gold as well. Paul, let's hear your roast.
I just want to say ahead of time, I'm enormously proud of what Hello Games has done to turn their game around. I think it's a good example for many in the industry of what happens in this scenario. But, I mean, at the end of the day, there's still an image. And Sean Murray really is the role model, the shining example for all those kids who managed to, not really do any schoolwork all year long or really, keep up on anything. But they had like a really nice teacher who was willing to let them hand everything in at the end just to pass, just to kind of skate by. I really feel like that is the Sean Murray's really lasting legacy here. He was able to do almost nothing for a long time, and then, do it all at the very end, and the gaming industry really goes, hey, Sean Murray's great now. We love him.
Yeah, cram session.
Cram session. Do it all at the end. Yeah, it's 5 years too late, but
Mike, let's hear your roast.
I mean, Paul kind of took what I was gonna say from me, but I was basically gonna say, there's all this talk about Blue Box and Hasan, but let's not forget the real OG Sean Murray.
Very nice. I love it.
One world. Yeah. No, but I mean, I will say, No Man's Sky. I was just talking to Rachel about this earlier. It's pretty awesome that they were able to turn around. They have Frontiers coming out soon. Like, I know this is a roast for being funny, but I'm saying, like, I feel like they get a lot of hate, but they really have turned around so amazingly, and it's so cool to see. They could have just abandoned it, and they didn't, and they've come up with more than they were ever going to do in the first place. I think it's abandoned. I didn't even realize I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's super cool. I actually tried recently getting into No Man's Sky again, and it's still kind of hard to grab me, but I like it. But yeah, it's still super memeable and never will not be.
Yeah, I personally think it's still just not a fun game, but
I know it's not. I think it's not for you. Like, we tried playing. I just feel like it's not the kind of game that you play. Like I just feel like you were pretty early. Like, it's not my kind of thing.
It's just feels like there's not much to do still. I don't know.
Oh, there's so
and
much
the
to do, but
the inventory system is like the worst inventory system I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a little awkward, but I don't know. It's if you're really interested in like exploring and making your own little fun, then it's fun. But you have to kind of be in that kind of mindset, I think. Which is,
it's space sci-fi. I don't like space sci-fi.
That's exactly.
Let me explore Earth or something like Earth.
Oh yeah, we don't have any games set on Earth, so you're set.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing gaming podcast from us, the Goodnight Groofs.
GG.
If you really like the show, we encourage you to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs, where we currently have 3 different tiers available. Any and all support is greatly appreciated and will go a long way to improving all of the Goodnight Groofs. The $3 plus tier will get you access to this very show 2 days early. A special shout out to our patrons currently supporting us in the $5 plus tier, Ishmael S. and Rachel S. A round of applause.
Round of applause. Matt, so you're saying if I just want to clarify, if I pay $3 or more,
right,
this will send me 2 days back in time. I just want to make sure that's exactly what you're saying.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and okay, I'm going to hold you legally to that.
Okay.
I'm down. So if I get to listen to it 2 days early, it becomes Friday. Okay.
Yes, it's in the fine print.
I understand.
We also ask that you take a couple minutes to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or leave a like and a comment on the YouTube video. Everything helps.
We read those comments.
We do. We read them. And we reply to them.
Sure.
Make sure to check out goodnightgroofs.com for all of our content. You'll find the blog, GG Replay, this podcast, and more coming soon. Help us out on the Patreon, and we can get you more soon. Guys, any last thoughts? Wonderful. No. That'll do it for us here today.
Literally nothing.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Take care, everyone.